Okay, surely he sees the irony there. He just talked up a big talk about, there's this guy cut a ship in half. Oh, must have been the power of the devil fruit. Completely lacking that self-awareness that, yeah, I'm going to lift this entire heavy battle boat with 3 big guns pointed at me, and I'm just going to casually toss it over my shoulder. Hey everyone, how's it going? Noxidar here, and welcome to another reaction in the One Piece anime. Today, we're going to be starting with episode 25, but before we begin, I have been going over the comments in this video, and there's a couple things that I want to address, and so for those of you that this may be your first video that you're coming to, I talk a lot, so this is probably going to be a very long introduction before we get to the actual reaction. But this is really important to me, something that I kind of just want to touch on and discuss with all of you. In the comments, I've been seeing a lot of repeated comments every time I happen to mention the fact that I don't believe Luffy is an idiot. And so it's been this kind of really interesting round and round thing, because I see the same people popping up in the comments every time I make this comment in a video. And so it really got me thinking, like, am I the idiot here? Am I not understanding something? And so it kind of led me to ask Google for myself, you know, like, what does Oda think of Luffy? Like, where's his head at with this character? You know, maybe people just aren't letting me know. And so I found this article that came out last month by Game Rant. I didn't read through a lot of it because there might be potential spoilers, so I kind of just clicked on the link and let it direct me to the applicable part of the article. And what I read, I really enjoyed, and I kind of wanted to go back over some of my thoughts, but also take into consideration the thoughts that others had given me and see if I could maybe kind of like harmonize the two. Because ultimately, and I should probably say this before we dive into this, I don't think people are wrong for what they think, what their summation of Luffy's character is. So again, it kind of led me on this little bit of a research journey here, and I wanted to avoid things like, you know, Reddits, where people are just kind of throwing out comments, because that's really not too dissimilar from YouTube. And so I actually went to a place, weirdly enough, Game Rant, but that's fine. But I did like what I was reading here, and so I'm going to read a little bit of it, and like I said, kind of try to harmonize these two ideas, because I don't see Luffy as an idiot, and others are telling me he is an idiot. And I think, and maybe this is like the writer in me, but I find the terminology used is very important. And so to say someone is something is to identify like the totality of their being as being this thing. And that's the thing that I am hesitant toward. How many times in my life have I been called this or that or the other? Like, I have no value outside of whatever this thing that people describe me as. You know, oh, that, he's just fat. He's just funny. It's like, well, no, I like to think deep too. You know, it's not always just fun, silly games. And so like, and maybe that's just like my personal response, where it's like, hey, he's just an idiot. And it's like, no, nah, he's got more going on than that. Oda has quite a lot of thoughts on Luffy as the protagonist, and there are many reasons as to why he was chosen to lead this incredible series. One of those reasons is the fact that Oda considers Luffy to be an idiot in some ways. Again, I think words are very important. And if this is indeed how Oda has related this, I want to be very clear. This is not the totality of Luffy's character and being. And it's right here. Some. Doesn't mean all. So, according to Oda, Luffy is mysterious, even to him to some extent. And so, if you listen to the way I kind of talk about Luffy and my thoughts on why I kind of lean toward the fact that I don't think he's an idiot, it really just comes down to the fact that I'm not sure. I always try to qualify my thoughts by saying, ultimately, I haven't seen enough that points me in that direction. And again, this is why I don't disagree with people, because, and the more I kind of thought about it after yesterday and after I woke up, and especially when I saw this article, I kind of came to the realization that people are describing Luffy in a character in a way because it's the connection they've made with this character over years, right? And they are trying to explain things to me, and it comes from a place of love, and maybe the fear that my misunderstanding would in some way invalidate the years of their understanding, or that in some way I won't be able to appreciate the character, or I'll somehow misrepresent the character in some way. But I want to be clear. There are people that say that I do analysis in my videos, and from my perspective, I don't consider what I do analysis. So from my estimation, good analysis comes from two places, speaking from authority and speaking from expertise. I have neither. What I tend to do is come at it from a storyteller's perspective, from an artist's perspective, from a performance perspective. And so really what I'm trying to do is I consider what I do appreciation. This like back and forth kind of idea, I hope people realize it comes from a place of like mutual love for the character. We might arrive at different places, but I don't think that people that think this are wrong. But I just can't help shake the feeling that they think I am. And that's kind of like, it doesn't feel good after a while to respond to comment after comment after comment about that. And so it led me even further down into this article, where Oda goes on to say, if you knew everything about Luffy, then the audience would get bored eventually. The mysterious nature of his character is what keeps him interesting at all times. And that's not just interesting to Oda, that's also interesting to me and to hopefully you as well. And that's what leads me to just stop and be like, you know what? This character is really interesting. There's a lot going on. I actually see Luffy as being a character who is carefree, but also free to be so many different things. And so to just kind of use a form of reductionism to take him down to one word, for me personally, I'm just not willing to go there because I don't think that's true. And so that isn't to say that what people are saying in the comments are untrue. It's just that these people are going down a path I'm just not willing to follow because I don't see it as being very fruitful to use that form of reductionism. It's the same way that the teachers talked about my student that I mentioned in our episode 123 reaction, Koki, is they saw him as very simple, and they simply reduced him down to a handful of words. But Koki has so much more going for him, and so does Luffy. And that's what I'm really trying to stop and appreciate. So I think going forward, just people that are willing to engage in this contrarian behavior, I'm probably just not going to interact with them anymore because it's just not worth the effort. I don't think that what I'm saying is wrong, and I don't think what people are saying back to me is wrong. And sometimes I think that my eagerness to engage with the community, people sometimes misconstrue that as like, all right, now we're going to duel it out. We're going to hash it out in the comments. Your response to me is proof that you think I'm wrong, and I'm going to show you why you're wrong. It's like, it's not like that. The other thing, I'm going to give you a fair warning. This next website does not have dark mode, so you might want to avert your eyes or like shield them. It's gonna get bright. I have a 32-inch monitor and it's gonna be fun. Do we still need lighthouses? An article that comes from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA for short. I had a lot of people in the comments that when I mentioned that the Baratie, I loved the fact that it felt more complete by having an element in the live action of a lighthouse on top. People went into the comments, and I had particularly one response started with, I kid you not, actually, because what I was saying, or at least the sentiment that I was trying to get at, was that a lighthouse is a great implement, especially for ships that are kind of stranded at sea, lost at sea. You've got these sailors that are just dying of hunger, and a lighthouse acts like a beacon of hope. You know, it guides them to safe harbor, to the Baratie. And everybody that had this comment was like, but actually, lighthouses are supposed to prevent people from coming towards it. That way they can alert them to the dangers. And I read that and I was like, yeah, that's true. But I also don't think what I said was wrong. And so then it really got me thinking about it. So what do? I look it up. Because again, I'm not an authority and I'm not an expert. So I'm going to go to people that are. So why not NOAA themselves, who have an article posted on August 7th, National Lighthouse Day. And what's really interesting is right down here, this first paragraph, lighthouses and beacons are towers with bright lights. Yep, that's a lighthouse. And foghorns located at important or dangerous locations. Oh, important locations. Okay. They can be found on rocky cliffs or sandy shoals on land, on wave-swept reefs in the sea, and at entrances to harbors and bays. They serve to warn mariners of dangerous shallows and perilous rocky coasts. Just like the comments said, they were absolutely correct. And they help guide vessels safely into and out of harbors, which is the sentiment that I expressed. And so going back to what I just talked about with Luffy, I feel like there's this contrarian effort to pick apart things that I say. I don't know if they're trying to score internet points or if they're trying to catch me in a gotcha. I don't know. And so further, the messages of these long trusted aids to navigation are simple. Either stay away, like the comment said, danger or beware, like the comments said, or come this way, like I said. And so I don't want to be mean-spirited about this. And because the people in the comments were correct, again, I want to bring this together and kind of harmonize this. So going back to the idea of a live-action Baratie with a lighthouse on top of it, think about it. The Baratie is in a fixed position, often for probably days, weeks, or months at a time. And a lighthouse, while some people in the comments said that it would be impractical, I think the opposite is true. You have a thing in a fixed position, and navigators are following charts, and this thing is very much not in their charts. So you think they're going through a lot of ship traffic back and forth at night. It might be a pretty good idea to have something to warn off, boats, so that this restaurant in the middle of the sea doesn't receive a big, huge galleon careening into it at ramming speed. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but that's to me that seems very practical. And especially in the live action when they're like trying to navigate through the fog. How helpful would that be to have a lighthouse on top to kind of guide and say, hey, there's something here, avoid it, but at the same time, like, give yourself a bit of a pinpoint at where you're at, and while you're lost at sea. And so yeah, this was a very long introduction, but these were kind of things that were not really like upsetting me. I'm not upset, but it's just kind of this weird nature of things where both people can be right but it really feels like people are going out of their way to like passive aggressively make me feel like I'm wrong. And so whether you're new to the channel or you've been watching these reaction videos for a while, I want you to know I'm just not going to engage with this anymore. We've already wasted so many minutes when we could just be experiencing the adventure. So thanks, but I'm going to keep moving now. One last thing. Thank you to everybody who has been commenting. I really am enjoying interacting with all of you. But if you think that I might be like wrong about something, I might just offer something to you because I'm so young in this journey and I might have opportunities to change my mind about things. I might just ask, maybe just let me be wrong about things. All right, so here we have it, episode 25. Let's go. Oh, yeah. Oh. Oh, that's cool. I like the way that Zeph said that that this is the first time he'd heard anybody declare themselves so clearly, and I think that goes back to especially a lot of people that say, you know, Luffy is simple-minded, and I did have people in the comments mention that that is, you know, at times often a strength, because it, yeah, especially like the article says, it has this power of just convincing people they have a clear understanding of who you are. Apparently not for me, though. So anyways, let's bury that hatchet and let's move on. But I think that's really cool. I like that. I like that he said that, because to me that is an inference as I build this understanding of this character. Oh, it's fine. He's probably gonna get up and get out of the water. Just like nobody else made a comment on that video in episode 2021 where Gin just like blows a guy away from the back, and then like later I just see him crawling on his hands and knees to get away. So I don't know. Yeah, so this guy's probably fine. It's fine. True. I don't understand if like Don Krieg is only just saying that because he understands maybe Luffy's own abilities, and so now he's just doing some guesswork. Oh no, it's kind of interesting. It's interesting that like we on the one hand are like witnessing people that thought that the devil fruit was a myth, and then moving to like everybody has devil fruit. Man, he looks so cool. He still does. Oh, interesting. That's cool. So I was kind of wondering why there was that. I'll say bird because I'm not sure what bird that is. Why in the live action opening credits, you know, they had like the different themes with the One Piece logos, and so that's cool. So now I'm actually seeing, and that was a part of Zeph's ship. Oh, that's really cool. Yo, I love these highly detailed still frames here. Wow. He's so excited. Giant scythe. So this is like something that I've touched on before, is how I'm, approaching One Piece in this reaction. Really just any reaction that I do is I try to approach it with authenticity and gratefulness. Appreciation and gratefulness, which I believe are what provide authentic, genuine, sincere reactions. So it's interesting that Luffy's touching on the idea of gratefulness here, that he's very aware of gratefulness here, because again, he's such an excellent judge of character. He's very much willing to just beat this guy and clean his clock, not just because he's threatening, the entire crew of the Baratie and everything, but also by extension his own crew, but like this is something that is deeply personal and meaningful to him, is having that gratefulness. So that's cool. Me and Luffy lockstep right here. I love these facial expressions. Oh, that's cool. Man, that's so cool. What? Wait, what? Well, this is my mistake, because I thought that the Baratie was pretty much unarmed and just kind of like, I guess, a prime target for piracy, if it were not for the fact that it was staffed with fighting cooks. But seeing a giant gun come out of a fish head, let's go. Oh, detachable too. I don't know why seeing all the cooks just gathered around there cheering reminds me of, did you ever see that movie Hunt for Red October, where like they're kind of just like watching this naval battle, especially with like submarines happening, they're on the surface of the water. I don't know, it just kind of felt like it was like evocative of that kind of scene setup. I'm not trying to make it any deeper than that. Wait, so this is a whole paddle boat? So I go to this camp, and there are paddle boats there, and with my students, we'll take them out on the water in these paddle boats. And you know what? I kind of agree with this guy, because I would have students that wanted to go a certain way, and I wanted to go another way, and so they would also like to just paddle like straight to the shore and beach us. And so I had to like pump the brakes and stuff. So everybody everybody that always like shows these pictures in like catalogs and stuff of just like, you know, happy couples just chilling out on the lake or, you know, on a pond enjoying the paddle boat. In every single instance I have been on a paddle boat with a person alongside me, it has been a battle. It has been a contest of wills. So the fact that these guys are even making it work is already, to me, just incredible. He stood there and took a full blast with his hand out? Okay, surely he sees the irony there. He just talked up a big talk about, there's this guy cut a ship in half. Oh, must have been the power of the devil fruit. Completely lacking that self-awareness that, yeah, I'm going to lift this entire heavy paddle boat with 3 big guns pointed at me, and I'm just going to casually toss it over my shoulder. You guys have me all confused about power scaling. Oh, no way. Wait, what? Yeah, I'd say. That's so cool. Who is that? Right. That's what I said. Oh, wait a minute. I think I saw something. I don't know if I read it or I saw it in just a video that I was watching. There was actually, I think it might have been like an article that I was reading, and it showed like an Easter egg where I believe it showed this character. I think he might have already been dispatched by Mihawk, where it shows like Mihawk on the beach for his introduction. And this was one of the characters laying on the ground. So that's cool. That I really appreciate the way the live action worked in a lot of elements that maybe to show in their entirety would have been either, you know, too much for the pacing they were trying to establish, or just kind of weird. No, this is completely normal. What do you think about? If I think there are actually NPCs in the game Starfield with this same helmet. So yeah, like that's really cool that I actually get to see what this character is capable of. I mean, obviously, you know, the first time I watched it in the live action, I would have never known. I wasn't even paying that attention because I think it was like laying on the ground behind Mihawk, and it didn't really do much to draw any attention to him. You know, the framing was very much putting our focus on Mihawk himself. So this is cool. I like this. I like this. Oh, I love that line of action from Sanji. That's so well animated. Or just so well designed, even. I don't know about that. Oh, that's cool. I like the way they showed that. Is that just like a quirk that Luffy has when he's like some people like jiggle their leg when they're sitting and idly? Is this his idle pose if you think of it like a video game? Oh, that would be hilarious. That's funny. Yo, I love how, again, this situation transpired from Don Krieg attacking Luffy, and Luffy just coincidentally ends up injuring this guy that says he never takes an injury, and this whole situation is just played for laughs. It's just how Oda is playing with the character. I love it. It's so funny. That seems dangerous too. Basically, he's like kind of like a berserker, because that's what they would do. They would build themselves up into a frenzy, like banging their shields and stuff, biting their shields, and and then they can't separate or make a distinction between friend or foe. So I love kind of just like the almost like the ridiculous character design, but like kind of based around it, similar ideas, like I said, of like how like a berserker would operate. That's so funny. Yeah. After all, they say if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. Sanji, well versed in heat and kitchens. Refined. Ooh. Yeah, that's what we need. More fire. Yo! So casual. Dude, I love Zeph. What the heck? Exactly. That's how I feel about it. Ooh. Again, I'd like to point out that Pearl just took another beating from Luffy, like as pure coincidence because of the actions of Don Krieg. I love that. I love the just inherent physical humor, and there's almost a sort of like, it feels like reminiscent of the way like a comedian uses observational humor to just create or point out the ridiculousness of any given situation. And so it feels like, from a visual standpoint and a visual form of storytelling, it almost feels like telling a joke with that sort of level of observational humor attached to it. It's so good. Oh, don't do it again. This is really cool. I always like kind of kick myself every time we come to these fight battle kind of episodes, because there's really not a lot I can, I feel like I can add. It's more just absolutely just watching this thing give me something entertaining. And that's definitely my big takeaway from it. I think if I hadn't spent like almost 30 minutes of recording trying to explain something that happened back in episodes 2021, we'd go ahead and we'd make this a double reaction episode. But I'm going to keep it just with a single because I'm already at an hour of recording. And I'll go ahead and try to chop it up. And yeah, like I said, you know, I hope you guys are having a good time with this. Don't take things too seriously. I'm not going to take things too seriously. And I think going forward, like I said, I'm just, I'm going to put my energy into, especially like with regards to comments, I'm going to put my energy into comments that I feel like add value for me, but also add value for you as well. And so I'm going to be a little bit more particular with that. I think that's going to just lead and lend to a better overall experience for both of us. So keep the comments coming. I really do appreciate it. Just if I don't reply to it because you're trying to point out that maybe I was mistaken about something, I might just let it slide. So, long story short, we'll try again next time. Both of us. It'll be good. Thanks for hanging. I really appreciate it. I'll see you in the next one. This is Noxidar out.